Kingsley Holgate is one of the most famous modern-day explorers, and together with Land Rover, he's covered Africa from top to bottom and side to side, and all the way around the perimeter as well. This latest expedition sees him in a fleet of Discovery 4s, taking the fight to malaria across 12 African countries. As if having the backup of those Land Rovers wasn't enough, Kingsley and his team can draw on many years and thousands of kilometers of exploration and adventure. And when they do come to those very rare places where even Land Rovers cannot go, they commandeer things like Arab dhows to help them complete their journeys. Their mission on this trip, as has been a few times in the past, is to spread the word of malaria prevention by educating the local populations and distributing life-saving mosquito nets. Of course, Land Rover are no strangers to doing a few good deeds themselves, and RPM accompanied them recently on a wild dog relocation program, which has just spawned some puppies. But back to United Against Malaria. Welcome back to April 2010 and the start of the whole expedition. From here at the Lesedi Cultural Village, Kingsley Holgate and his fleet of Discovery 4s takes the energy of the FIFA World Cup 2010 to the rest of Africa in the fight against malaria. It was the start of a very long and very tough journey, not only for the vehicles but also for the crew who were heading into some unknowns, places like Burundi. If you had to ask your travel agent when the best time to visit Burundi was, chances are they'd say never. But despite the travel warnings and prophecies of doom, the expedition travelled there and a few other undesirable places with unexpected and pleasant outcomes. Today is day one. From the Lesedi Cultural Village in Gauteng, they depart to Mozambique and then on to a whole host of African countries until they reach Tanzania. And that's where we'll see you next time.
The whole length of Mozambique into Malawi, from Malawi, right across Zambia, then to Mpulungu on the south of Lake Tanganyika, all the way up Lake Tanganyika to Kigoma, then up to Bujumbura in Burundi. From Burundi, it's on to Rwanda, from Rwanda, Uganda. Uganda into Tanzania, Kenya, and then all the way back home.
It was a round trip of about 14,000 kilometers, covering everything from pristine South African tar roads to just about the worst conditions Africa could offer. If there was ever a time the Discovery needed to prove its critics wrong, this was it. The convoy could only pack a limited amount of spares for the mammoth journey, and everything that might need to be fixed would have to be fixed in less than ideal conditions. It is a complex piece of machinery, the Discovery 4, and while that means it can accomplish a lot, being more complex means there are more things that can go wrong. With heat, cold, rain, rivers, mud and dust trying their best to get through every seal and into every moving part, this was quite possibly the toughest challenge that any Discovery 4 will ever face. But of course, the Discovery gene pool is deep, and some of the oldest and best kept examples of Land Rovers in South Africa came out to see the expedition off. The Holgates have owned and admired a few Land Rovers, particularly Defenders. So what happened when they upgraded?
The hardcore Defender guys certainly gave us a hard time. In fact, they accused us of being a bit disloyal. You know, you've got this old, hardened Land Rover Defender brigade. And we love Defenders. We've done so much with them over the years. We're used to the handbrake burn on the left calf and the cold water drip when it rains onto the accelerator foot. But like everything else in life, one needs to move forward. And from Defenders, we moved over to Discovery 3s. We did an expedition called Boundless Southern Africa, linking trans-frontier conservation from the Indian Ocean to the Atlantic through 9 countries. We did some 60,000 kilometers in Discovery 3s.
So the natural progression was to the Discovery 4. This was going to be an incredible journey.
We're taking a United Against Malaria banner to the top of the Ruvenzoris, the Mountains of the Moon, to the top of the largest, highest freestanding mountain in the world, Kilimanjaro, and Mount Mulanje, the highest point in Central Africa. So lots of adventure and lots of good work to do in terms of distributing life-saving mosquito nets to pregnant mums and to children under the age of 5, given that the shocking statistic still remains that for every minute of every day and night, 2 babies die from the blood-sucking bite of the Anopheles mosquito. So it's using Land Rovers to make a difference.
RPM's part of the journey in Tanzania starts next.